Baby, I got something to say.
Hello everyone and welcome to Dave's Kitchen Corner. This is my very first video, so I wanted to go over a couple of things today. There won't be any cooking in this video, but I just want to introduce myself, explain my purpose behind the videos that I'm going to be making, and then also introduce you to the tools and some of the other items that we'll be using in future videos. So my background, I've been in the food service industry for about 30 years. My very first job was at Six Flags Great America in Illinois. And then I started working in fast food and sit-down restaurants after that. In 2010, I started culinary school at Le Cordon Bleu, Chicago, and then graduated from there in March of 2012 with my associate's degree in culinary arts. From there, I started working in finer dining restaurants to where we are today. And then since then, I've also been doing some private chef work and some other side jobs in the restaurant industry. So my purpose for these videos is to show you guys how easy it is to do cooking at home, and also to demystify some things and show you some tricks and tips, from a restaurant chef. It's really easy to make all your own foods at home, whether it's mayonnaise or mustard or stocks, pickles, all those kind of basic things. And then, how we're gonna plate dishes and bring them all together from the basic items that we make. And it's just going to be an exciting time in the kitchen. So the first thing that we do when we walk in a kitchen, walk into the kitchen, is put on our apron. Now this apron, you may not think is necessary, but it's there for protection. We're gonna put it on so that we'll keep ourselves clean. There's always chances of oil splattering and other things, just to help you prevent you from getting burns on your body and whatnot. So we just like to protect ourselves in that way. And then the most important tools that we're gonna move on to are gonna be our knives. So the most used knife in the kitchen is a chef's knife. There's many different types. It all depends on what you feel is best for you. Like I have a couple of different kinds of chef knives. I have this Japanese knife that I had ordered from Japan, and then I have this knife. It's a smaller, a little bit smaller, a little bit more easy to manage. But these are the workhorses. These two are the workhorses, and they're the ones that we'll use most. Okay. This next knife is a carving knife. So we'll use this, after the food is cooked, whether it's a roasted turkey, a roast beef, something, like lox. If we're gonna shave pieces of salmon off for lox, or something like that. That's what this knife is good for. We have our bread knife for slicing bread. Okay, it has the grooves here to help cut through the bread a little easier than just using a chef's knife. Because if you're using a chef's knife to cut bread, you're going to smush it down, and this prevents that from happening. These grooves prevent that from happening. We have a fillet knife. So this is like if we're gonna butcher some fish. It's very bendable and manageable. If we gotta go up against some bones, it helps us get as close as possible when we're doing our cutting. We have our paring knife. It's a pretty small knife. but it's good for segmenting oranges. Sometimes you want to just do some quick peeling. You can use it to do that. Or if you have some super small items like strawberries or other things to cut, this is very good for that. And then we have a Chinese vegetable cleaver. This is good for doing a lot of finer vegetable chopping. And then we have this isn't anything that we're going to use to cut with, but this helps us hone our knife. After using it for a little bit, it might not be cutting as well, so to fix the edge just a little bit in a pinch, we're just gonna take our knife and go like this against the honing steel to help get that edge back to where it needs to be. Another cutting tool that we'll be using is this Japanese mandolin. There's a little adjusting screw right here that will change the depth of the little flap right here, and it will change the thickness of the slice that we're making. So if you want a thicker slice, you're gonna unscrew it. If you want a thinner slice, you're gonna screw it in tighter, and that will make it a thinner slice. Also, like if you want different shapes, there's a really thin, there's 3 different attachments here. One really big, one medium, and one really small, but it helps like for if you want to do some quick julienne, so it like shreds the vegetables. We have some kitchen shears. These shears will help us, if we need to cut some fish bones, or if we need to cut some chicken or some other things. This will help us do those tasks. We have a vegetable peeler, pretty basic, but it's just going to make our life easier instead of using a knife to peel a potato or an apple or something like that. And now we have a microplane. Now this helps zest fruits or shred cheeses pretty fine. So like, or if we need to grate, like say a nutmeg or something, this is really good for that.
Gotta focus on yourself, on your faith, on your dreams, on your mind, on your health, yeah. You gotta work, never tell, keep your head down, find what you love and excel, yeah. Push and pull and repel any hate, go create what you want, feel compelled, yeah. And once you finally get a taste of the race, you'll never look back once you felt that. Don't let somebody take your time and your worth, just focus on yourself first. Don't let somebody take your time and your worth, just focus on yourself first.
Okay, now we're going to go over cutting boards. There's many different sizes and types of cutting boards. So this first one we're going to look at is a plastic cutting board. And then it has these grips on the side that help it keep in place and don't slide. This specific board is good for cutting small fruits, slicing lemons, things like that. It's just a good heavy duty for doing small tasks, really good. This wood board, it's good for like using to cut cheeses or other small manageable tasks, but you don't really want to do any really big tasks on this board. We've got a plastic board here, and it's good. It's a little bit bigger now, and it's good for everyday use. And you can use it for chopping vegetables, cutting fruit, cutting different meats, but you just want to make sure you have enough space on your cutting board. So if just use the appropriate size for the task that you're doing. I have a wood one here, and this wood one actually has a groove cut into it here. This board specifically is good for like maybe cutting vegetables, or if you have roasted an item like roast beef or turkey, this is good for helping keep the liquids on the board and not coming off the board. Now here's the biggest board that I have available right now. It's another plastic board. It's a little bit bigger, so I can use it for bigger items, whether it's a whole side of New York strips, or if I'm butchering a fish or slicing fish that's a bigger size like salmon or something to that effect. This board is good for that. Okay.
I got the cash in the bag, stadium packed. Born a rock star in this life, gon' live it up on the attack. Baby, I'm bad, I just wanna get caught up in this life. I'm crazy, I'm mad, doing no cap, only God wants.
Okay, now we're gonna go over pots and pans. There's many different types of pans that you can use in a kitchen, whether it's a skillet, an iron skillet, or a braising pot, or a stock pot, a saucepan. I'll just show you a couple of different ones here. So there's multiple different sizes. So this is really small. We maybe just want to heat up a sauce, or maybe just one chicken breast or something, you know, not very much in this small pan. This one's a little bit bigger. It's just a regular surface. It's not nonstick, anything like that. But it's, you know, the more food you're cooking, the bigger pan that you want to use. This next pan is what we call a blue steel pan, and we use this in the restaurants a lot. It's very good for heat distribution. It cooks very evenly, and it's really one of the workhorses of a commercial kitchen. The next one that we have is a non-stick skillet, and of course you can get it in a smaller size, but I'm just trying to give examples of size of skillets. So now this is where we'll do like, you know, a couple of steaks or 3 or 4 chicken breasts. We can do it in this size pan, okay? Now, we have iron skillets, and I have a couple of different sizes of iron skillets. These are fabulous for cooking, whether you're cooking a steak or you're cooking fried chicken or something like that. These are good old-fashioned things that you can use in the oven as well. If you want to cook some type of cornbread, they're good for that as well. Our next pan is a 4-quart sauce pot. You can get them smaller, you can get them bigger, but this is a general size that we would use in a commercial kitchen. And it helps for larger amounts of like soups, heating soups, you know, reducing things, or just bringing things up to temperature, or if we actually need to like boil some macaroni or some rice. This is a pan that we're going to be using for that task. This next pot is a 5-gallon stock pot. This is probably what we're going to be using for our next video. I'm gonna start off showing you how to make a stock, whether it's chicken, pork, veal, beef, whatever it is. This stock pot is good for making broths, stocks, or large amounts of soup. If we're going to make a soup for a lot of people, or chili or something to that effect, this pot right here is going to be good for that task. And then this pot or pan right here is a braising pan. it's good for you know, doing a large amount of things that we're going to braise, whether it's like short ribs or some type of pork, or say we wanted to make some coq au vin, which is a braised chicken dish. We're going to use this pot because we can use it on top of the stove, or we can put it inside the stove to cook for several hours. That's a really good pan. Now we're going to go to different sizes of sheet trays. So these sheet pans are good for baking, and there's multiple different sizes. We have the really big one here. This is a full-size sheet pan. If we're doing a lot of things, we'll use the big one, or if we have a really big amount of something, you know, the more you have, the bigger you want to be. This is a half-size sheet pan. This one right here, this is the one that we'll probably be using most, whether we need to rest something or bake some cookies or bread or anything else. We can use this one here. And then we have a really small one. Now we can do, you know, small batch baking, or this generally in a kitchen, we're going to use this for resting meats. So we'll cook a steak or a piece of chicken, and then we'll have a resting rack like this. We'll put it in the tray, and then just let the meat and let it cool a little bit, let the juices go, you know, back into the meat, and then anything will drip to the bottom, and you know, it'll be really good for that. There's a couple of different things that you can use with these pans. We have a thing here, it's called a Silpat. You put it on the bottom and you don't need to grease the pan or anything. It's a really good, you know, tool to use. If you don't have one, that's okay. Just some parchment paper will work good if you need to put something on the bottom of your pan. Parchment paper works just fine.
Let's go. Yo, I'm like an addict, do I gotta have it. I ain't even playing, got a really bad habit. If it moves, gotta grab it, fuse like a magnet. Lose, won't have it till I'm doomed in a casket. I ain't playing, got a weird mind. If you work 8 hours, I'ma work 9. If the shit tastes sour, you should taste mine. I'ma stay in power for a long time. Get up, nah, I ain't a quitter. Toss me the ball, I'm a really big hitter. Big picture, I'm a straight killer. Rising the song to the highest bidder. Got juice, got gas, I'ma move fast. New shoes, new tracks, like who's that? I'm new, come back better than last. Yeah, it's a new.
Okay, next, I want to go over spoons and spatulas and different types of portioning equipment. So there's many different types of spatulas, okay? Just a few of the things that we kind of recognize as spatulas. They're heat resistant, like this one is super heat resistant, but you know, you don't want to put it on a flame, it will melt eventually. This one's just a, you know, basic for like baking and stirring and stuff, and you know, different shapes and sizes, all for the task that you're just trying to get done, okay? Here we have a fish spatula. It's specifically designed for working with fish. This is the fish spatula. We have a mini spatula. This is used more in baking, but we can also use it on the culinary side as well, for plating, you know, and doing things like that. We have a larger spatula here. It's good for, you know, flipping burgers, steaks, other things. Maybe if you have your outdoor grill, you can use it for that. But you can also use it inside for larger items that you need to flip or, you know, remove from a pan. This is a dough scraper. You can kind of use it to pick things up, but also, you know, scraping out a bowl or other things. It's just a useful, multitasking tool. Now we're going to get into some portioning and spoons, different size ladles. You can, depending on how much you want on a plate or in a bowl or just the different portion size that you want, you can go anywhere from like a 1/2 ounce ladle all the way up to like a 8 to 10 ounce ladle. We have many different sizes in the kitchen, so it all depends on what you need and what you want. I have a couple of different, we have a larger portioning spoon. It's good for, scooping out big things whenever you need it, or stirring in a large pot. Say like we're using that stock pot that I showed you earlier. It would be good for using in that pot, or the braising pan as well. If we're making a large batch of something, this is good. We have a slotted spoon here. It's also a larger size, but if you needed to pick something up and you just wanted the product that you're making and not any grease or juice or anything, the slotted spoon is great for that. We have a plastic spoon. Looks like an old-fashioned like slotted spoon, or I mean a wooden spoon, but it's made out of plastic nylon, so it's heavy duty and heat resistant. Good for anything that you would use a traditional wooden spoon for. Now I have several different other smaller spoons here. I got a slotted spoon, got this spoon with the edge ground down. This one specifically is good for like scraping the bottom of a pan, or just if you're doing something in a smaller skillet, it's good for that. You just don't know what you need a smaller spoon for. You just want to have them on hand just in case. And then I also have a smaller slotted spoon if I have the smaller things that I need to use a slotted spoon for. There's that. I also have a lot of plastic spoons on hand. So these smaller plastic spoons are used for tasting. So I don't like going back in with the spoon. And we use a lot of these in the restaurant industry to do our tasting. So you want to taste what the sauce tastes like, or something else, you just take a little spoonful, taste, throw it in the garbage. You don't need it anymore. It's just more sanitary to use the plastic spoons instead of dipping back in with the spoon that you just tasted with a metal spoon. And then we have our measuring spoons, of course. Used a lot more for baking than for culinary, but we also need small measurements of say chopped garlic or other things. We can use the measuring spoons for that type of stuff as well. We also have the measuring cups. This is a 1 quart measuring cup, and this is just 1 cup. So you can also get a 2 cup size. It all depends on what volume you're going to be doing, what you're going to be measuring. It's all up to you what you want to use in the kitchen. But I just have a lot of different things on hand myself.
I see her rolling up, Uber black Cadillac, high heel boots and a sexy body full of tats. Baby's bad, oh baby's hella bad. After her there ain't no coming back. Wanna take a run at that. I think she's feeling me, turn it up a few degrees. My imagination of her body gets the best of me. Oh gosh, she's such a tease, bitten lips, bruised knees. I'm addicted to her, need her touching me, cause she got a bad little waist. And we tearing down this place, off the liquor that we chase. Casamigos to the face, baby.
Okay, so now we're gonna go on to some of the smaller miscellaneous items that we may need while we're in the kitchen. We have here we have different size bowls. I have a larger size, a medium size, a small size. We can also get an extra large size bowl. It just if you got a lot of salad that you want to make for somebody or a group of people, you can use an extra large bowl. But you just need different sizes for your different tasks. Whether you're doing a lot or a little, it just depends on what you're doing. We have different types of tongs. We have one that has the thing on there, or to lock it, but then these, they don't have a lock. You can get all different types of tongs, but those are just a couple of different ones. Whisks. You can get smaller ones than these, or bigger ones. So these are just two of the different sizes of whisk. There's some really tiny ones. They're not very useful, so this is probably the smallest you want to go. But then we also have really big whisks, like 2 or 3 times this size for extra large pots. We would really only use those in a commercial setting. So these are probably really good for anything that you may need to use. These are just some plastic containers that we use a lot in the restaurant industry. It's good for portioning. If we want to, do our mise en place, which mise en place is the term for putting everything in its place. It's a term that we use in commercial kitchens. But like, say what we do is we chop everything up, put each ingredient in one of these, and then when we're ready to put everything together, we just grab one of the containers that we need and we just toss it in the pan or pot, whatever we're doing. We got some different size strainers, different types of strainers. This one has it's just a plastic one for basic, small batch. Say you got noodles, you can use this one. This one is a little bit finer mesh. It's good for, things that you don't want as much to go through. And then this one's a super fine mesh strainer. It won't let very much through, so all you're really getting is the liquid. We use this one a lot in the restaurant industry. Squeeze bottles. We use these a lot in the restaurant industry, and they can be helpful at home too. Say like you want to make your own salad dressing, or mayonnaise or mustard or anything. You can buy a really small squeeze bottle and fill it up and keep it in your refrigerator, and it'll keep for as long as you need. But sometimes, depending on what the item is, you don't want it to go too long, but other things you can almost keep indefinitely. It just depends on the item. And some other small miscellaneous things that you may need. We have tweezers. Say you butcher a side of fish, you want to get the fish bones out. You're going to use the tweezers to do that. We have a melon baller, making balls of melon or other things. That's what this is good for. We have a scooper. You can get these in many different sizes as well. This size is the size that I use to make cookies and whatnot. So this is the size that I use the most. But you can get smaller ones, you can get larger ones. It just depends on the size that you want to use for making your dishes. Basting brush, pastry brush. You can use this, to baste the turkey, ham, whatever. But you can also use it for painting a plate with some sauce or something that you have. There's you can use it to butter things, butter bread and other things. So it has many different uses, but it's just a good tool to have. We have a meat tenderizer. If you just want to flatten out a piece of meat, whether it's a piece of chicken or something that you just want to get flat, you're going to use the flat side. But if you want to tenderize it, you're going to use the pointed side. So that's a useful tool to have. And then a lot of the recipes that we'll be doing, we may be weighing them out using ounces or grams instead of measuring cup. So you may want to get a good decent scale. They're probably around $20 to $25 at Target or whatever department store. But yeah, it's going to be a good thing to have to help with the cooking that we're going to be doing.
Yeah. Sometimes I get so mad, there's no controlling me. My thoughts get so bad, I'm like, I might grab a bat, I don't know. My wrath, my blood boils over like, oh God, here goes. I lost all feeling from my head to my toes. You said some shit that I can't let go, so just stay tuned for the rest of the show. So have you ever felt betrayed? Switches how you see things, realize something needs change. Cause I know you got me fucked up, let me show you what's up. Cause enough is enough.
Okay, so the last few items that we're going to go over today are some of the bigger items in the kitchen. They're going to be really helpful, really useful, and help speed things up for you. If you don't have them, it's okay. There's other ways to get things done, but these are just going to make your life much, much easier, okay? So we have right here, we have a coffee grinder. You might not necessarily use it for coffee. I use a lot for grinding my own spices. So say like I have black peppercorn, coriander seed, cumin seed, just any whole seed or anything, but I want to get it ground. I'm going to buy it whole, and then I'm going to grind it myself when necessary, okay? The reason for doing that is because when you buy whole spices, they're going to last much, much longer than a ground spice. So it's also much fresher and much better for flavor if you do your own grinding at the moment that you need it. And you can also just do a very small amount. If all you need is a very small amount, just throw it in here, press the button, grind it up, you're good to go. This next item is an immersion blender, or what we call a stick blender. It has a couple different speeds, but say we have a pot and we want to make a butter sauce, or we're blending up a cheese sauce or something like that, or a pasta sauce. It'll be, and we don't want it super blended, but we want it blended up a small amount. We're going to use the immersion blender, stick it in the pot or pan, and just hit the button and let it go until we have it the consistency that we want it. It's a really good tool to use if you have it. Okay. The next item we're going to go over is this just a regular blender. There's many different models, brands, but this one is a pretty good workhorse. It has a 2-quart capacity and several different speeds and that you can use. Variable speed, up and down, whatever you need to do. It's really good for making like hollandaise sauce, or making blending up your soups, getting them very blended up, much finer than the immersion blender would do. Here we have a stand mixer. This one is the 7-quart model that I use. It's good for making your cookie dough, making breads, making meringues, anything else you need to do. It's a pretty good workhorse. Comes with several different attachments, whether it's a whisk, dough hook, or the paddle attachment. This model also, you can buy an attachment for a grinder. I also have that grinder attachment here, and then you just put that up here and then get it moving. But it's really good for multiple different things, whether you're making cookie dough, bread, whatnot. It's really good for that. And then we have our food processor. It's good for making mayonnaise. I've used it to make mayonnaise before, and just chopping other things up, blending things, making pates or other things that you need chopped or blended. That's what this is really good for. It's just going to help out so much. All these items will help out if you have them. If not, we can find a different way to do it. But these will just make life in the kitchen much, much easier. So that's going to be pretty much it for today. Thank you for watching. If you could, please like and subscribe. It'll really help me out. And I just want to help you guys, make some awesome food at home. And we'll see you at the next video.
Don't wanna sleep in, cause I got something to prove. I gotta take what I hate and finally make a move. I think of you and all the shit you don't do. Well, I'ma make hella sure that I don't become you. I have no regrets, yeah, I'll tie up my chest. I'll never forget what it's like to be in debt. Been stabbed in the back,